Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad with another edification to the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Okay, so first and foremost, Kal Halayam, La, Allah, Hayanawa, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Wakaha Kodash, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Alright, so excuse the background a bit. Going through some rain here. You know, the Spirit of the Lord just wake me up. As you can see, the time is now, 5:03 in the morning. Yahweh Shai wake me up to this, come forth to this edification outside here, man. I just need to come outside and take the cool breeze. You know, as the rain falling and whatnot, so forth. But I'm in a position where I could speak without bothering anybody. See, you know, in a location home here where I could speak without bothering anybody, you know, and lift my voice now, boy. You know? But anyhow, the title of this edification is your church pastors letting you know this. You know, to that effect. Maybe at the end, you know, I could brush it up a bit, you know. Yeah, but you know, all what taking place right now in the world, all right, and what have you so forth, you know, has your church pastors been telling you this? All right, has your church pastors been telling you this? You know, giving you the warnings, all right, giving you the warnings as to all what is taking place in the earth right now, you know, pursuant to the world moving into a technocratic age, you know, by the way of technology and what have you so forth, all right, you know, the CBDC, yeah, the CBDC, social credit score system, carbon footprint. What else? What else we seeing taking place? We seeing, all right, energy crisis pursuant to the war that is taking place right now in the so-called Middle East between Israel and Babylon against Iran. All right, even the war that is taking place. Yeah, even the war that is taking place in Iran and what have you so forth. All right, the famine that war is going to bring about, you know, because everything within this war is having a ripple and a domino effect. All right, and the question lies, you know, has they been telling you these things? Because with all in all, over the years, where you Christians, you know, I will deal mostly with the Christians for now, you know. All I will say, not just only you Christians, you know, but you know, Islam, all right, all you jakes that is in Islam, and Egyptology and whatnot, so forth, you know. But my argument is directed towards mainly the Christian church, especially the black Christian church, you know. So what I'm saying is, all what you all had was to say against us, towards us, and what have you so forth, you know, that we are devils and we are this and we are that and we are the other. No problem. But we know for a fact, all right, pursuant to Isaiah, let's get that scripture, Isaiah 55, a little while I go to that scripture and 10. Isaiah 55 and 10. And look at that. Look at that. Look at that. How ironic I come to this scripture. And as I say, you know, as I say, the rain is actually falling right now. Alright? Yeah? The rain is actually falling right now. So as it reads, for as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and return it not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth, and bud that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. So this is the thing here. Alright. Everything that we have been saying through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, pursuant to what? Pursuant to prophecy. Alright? Pursuant to prophecy. And over the years, you know, we have been ridiculed and all these things, and what have you so forth, put forth, you know, by having bad light shone upon us and all these things. Alright? But this is the thing here. Everything that we have been saying, everything that we have been saying by the way of prophecy, it has been coming to pass. Alright? But the question lies to you, has your church pastor been letting you know of these things that we are experiencing now? Have they foretold to you of these things that is taking place here now? Alright? Because as far as I can see, let me see, let me get a scripture. I think it's an Amos, you know. I think it's in Amos, Zephaniah 1 and 12. Alright, so let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. Zephaniah 1 and 12. Alright. Zephaniah 1 and 12 as it reads, and it shall come to pass, alright, at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and punish the men that are settled on their lees, that saying in their heart, the Lord will not do good, neither will he do evil. Alright? So this is the situation that we are in here, you know. This is the situation pursuant to these Christians. Alright, they are all settled on their lease. Alright, they are all in their comfort zone. You know, things they can't see, you know, they cannot see as to what is actually taking place and the direction that the world is heading into. You understand? Because they all settle, but you know, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai is going to rip them off of that comfort seat by force. Alright, and they're gonna go through. They're gonna go through the birth pains. Alright, they ain't gonna have no such thing as rapture and all that nonsense. Alright? As your pastor has been telling you of the civil war that is about to take place. Alright? Especially over there in Babylon. Okay? Have they tell you of they foretold you of you know, when all hell break loose and no what do they call them again, authority. There's no one in authority to control the people, because the people, you know, pursuing time. Let's get that scripture, which is 2 Esdras 15. And I could start at 14 and 2nd Esdras 15 and 14, where it reads, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings, nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. All right? Have they been telling you these things? All right? Because if you take a look at America right now, America is a house divided. All right? We know that for sure. Okay? America is a house divided. Now, put that into consideration. All right? Put that into deep thought. Put that into deep thought and visualize the scenario that is about to bring forth. A scenario as such as America being divided, all right, and as it's being divided is a nation, you know, that hold dear to their heart. I think it's the Second Amendment right, pursuant to the right to bear arms, all right. And both sides go into an all-out war because, you know, there is a split within the nation due to policies and draconian measures and what have you, so forth, the right against the left, you know, and what have you, so forth. All right, is your pastors bringing about a scenario such as that to you, you know, pursuant to prophecy? Because this is what I'm reading here. This is prophecy. All right, and this is what is going to take place. All right. When you go to, I will come back to the scripture. Just bear with me, because I would have to tie that in. Basically, I would have to tie that in with Isaiah 19, and I could start with 1. Isaiah 19 and 1, the burden of Egypt. All right, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and that Egypt it is speaking about is America, spiritual Egypt. It is not speaking of literal Egypt. All right, and it shall come into Egypt. All right, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt, all right, shall melt in the midst of it thereof. Verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. All right? So, there's an imminent civil war that is about to take place pretty soon. All right? And the question lies, is your pastor, is your church pastor, been telling you this, been bringing this forth towards you all? Because the reason for this, for a question such as this, is that the chickens is coming home to roost. All right, we have been telling you this, we have been bringing this forth towards you all. All right, we have been bringing the full 100% truth, especially the men of Great Millstone, mainly the men of Great Millstone, starting with the apostles and elders on downwards. But the fact of the matter is, this was being brought to you all, but what did you all do? You all rejected it. All right, you all rejected the truth. You all rejected the knowledge. All right, you all rejected the knowledge. So, with the rejection of the knowledge and what have you so forth, what position you think you're going to be in? All right, what position you think you're going to be in? Okay, I think it was verse 15. All right. So this is the scenario that is about to take place, along with many other scenarios. All right, but this is just one I'm pointing out. Where I'm going to point out a couple, you know, as we go along, not just this year. But hey, look at this scenario here. All right, verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Is your pastor keeping you in the loop pursuing the situations as this? Prophetic situations as this, as I should say. Alright? Prophetic situations as this. Scenarios of prophetic scenario situations as all hell break loose, famine, destruction, alright, pestilence, diseases, wars, the collapse of the economy, alright. But no, they're not. Because you take a look at the Christian church, alright, you take a look at this, especially Jake, whether it be Northern Kingdom, whether it be Southern Kingdom, you take a look at these churches, Christianity, alright, is a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, alright, a whole bunch of shalabababa, wabababa, alright, nonsense about other speaking in tongues, a whole bunch of prosperity motivational speeches and what have you, so forth, okay, which is basically to keep you all asleep whilst all hell is about to break loose upon you all. Alright, basically you being caught with your pants down. That is what it is. Alright? That's why you're going to get caught with the pants down. That's why when you read scriptures like 1 Thessalonians, let's get that, is it first? Yeah, 1 Thessalonians 5:1, where it reads, but of the times and the seasons, brethren. Hey, there's a beautiful scripture I have to read here. For real. Wow. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. Alright? You have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Alright? Because why? You have been taught this. Alright? It was already written. Alright? These things was already written and taught. So, by now, you're supposed to know the times that you're living in. Alright? You're supposed to know. Because, hey, that is where 2nd Esdras 9, I had to come back to this. This is where 2nd Esdras 9 comes back into play. 2nd Esdras 9:1, where it reads, he answered me then, and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Alright? There is what it is. So we have no need to be in La La Land, in Wonderland. We have no need to not be in the know, because everything that was written for our learning, to keep us on point. You understand? To keep us on point. So when you go back, that's why the scripture says to measure the time diligently. When you go back, alright, to the Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians 5, alright, and I will continue from verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And this is the scenario that the masses of Jake is in right now, alright, because they think that they are all at peace, alright, pursuant to the lies and the hypnosis that the powers that be has them under. All right. So basically, they're not seeing all the dangers that are surrounding them. All right. They're not seeing the dangers. All right. It says, verse 4, but ye brethren are not in darkness, and this is the point. This is the point from verse 4 going down. All right, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. All right, that day should overtake you as a thief. Because why? We in the know. All right, our elders, our apostles, you know, they've been giving us the inside scoop. All right, because their elders have been giving them the inside scoop. All right, you know, dwelling in prophecy. All right, studying, showing, you know, studying and passing forward the knowledge of the whole 100% truth and what have you, so forth, that we here now, you know, in this time, in these dregs of the last days, all right, could know the time that we're living in and acknowledge the time that we are living in and prepare for ourselves for the times that we are living in. That day shall not overtake us. All right. It says, ye are all the children of the light. All right. And the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Basically, we know the truth. All right. We know the prophecies. We know what to look forward for. All right. Because why? We've been measuring the time diligently within itself, you know, marking the prophecies. All right. What is he talk within Israel now? All right. World War III, but before World War III come about, before the missiles come about, the MOTB have to take place. All right. There is the timeline that we're in right now. These two major prophecies, the MOTB and World War III. This is the timeline that we are in right now. All right. But to you Christians, is your pastors telling you of this? Have they been telling you of this? Have they been preparing your minds towards this? No. So which means what? You're in darkness. You're in darkness. All right. Because you're not seeing what is actually coming about. You're not seeing what is actually taking place. All right. It says here, therefore let us not sleep as others do. All right. But let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. All right. And that night and drunkenness, it represents being spiritually drunk. All right. And you know, you're not in the light. You're not in the know. Okay. Verse 8, but let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation. All right. Because we watching the prophecies, and with the prophecies taking place, you know, you're seeing it, so it helps build your faith because you're seeing the prophecies taking place. All right. Because you have been taught of the prophecies. All right. There is what it is here. They're not telling you of nothing. You go to the Christian church and they're not warning you. Hey, I have many conversations with Christian pastors and what have you, so forth, you know, and the level of conversation I would like to keep, or can't keep it, because they go drunk, because they're not in the spirit of prophecy. All right, they're not in the spirit of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushua at all. All right, there's where it is. I had Christians literally tell me that, you know, the Old Testament done away with and what have you, so forth, literally. So then we're telling me the prophecies that is written in the Old Testament that is to come to pass. You telling me that the Lord done away with that? No. you know, about we in Jesus' time now and whatnot, so forth and this and that. But what the scripture says, pursuant to Revelation 19 and 10, Revelation 19 and 10, and I fell at his feet to worship him. This was John, you know, and the angel, all right? And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimonies of Yahushai. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahushai, all right, is the spirit of prophecy. All right, is the spirit of prophecy. And the scripture talk about meditating on the prophecies. All right. But the only way for you to be about the prophecy, you have to be taught. All right. The scripture says to warn the people. And how you're warning them? You're warning them by the way of the prophecies that is about to be fulfilled. All right. Hey, this war that is taking place. All right, this war that has taken place. All right, this is Ezekiel 38 we are in right now. Prophecy again. Is your pastor has been teaching you of this? Ezekiel chapter 38, Ezekiel chapter 39. Has your pastor been telling you and teaching you about the up and coming nuclear war that is going to, you know, conclude this war of Armageddon, all right? That is going to usher in the Messiah, Yahushai, Hamashiach, Salakia, yeah? Have they been telling you of these things? Or have they been telling you that, you know, you're going to be raptured? You know, you're going to be raptured out of here and this and that and the other and all that nonsense. All right? That's why Jeremiah had was to say, pursuant to Jeremiah, a while I go to that scripture now come back to my head there. Jeremiah 17:17, where it reads, be not a terror unto me. Thou art my hope in the day of evil. All right, the day of evil. Because that is what is coming about, the day of evil. Let them be confounded that persecute me, but let not me be confounded. All right? Let not me be confounded. Let them be dismayed, but let not me be dismayed, which is to be affrighted. All right? Bring upon them the day of evil and destroy them with what? With double, yeah, with double destruction. All right? This is what is going to take place with all of you all in the Christian church. And all you all that is not within this truth, all you jigs that is not within this truth, right? A double portion of destruction is going to take place upon you all. You know, but again, you know, as I say, you know, I'm dealing at this point in time here right now, you know, this is directed towards those jigs, all right, that is within Christianity. All right. Hey, I live next to some Christians. Thursday night, the night before Good Friday, you know, they're celebrating the Easter and all that wicked nonsense. All right, they all had the big hooray next door here and whatnot, so forth. And I just listen and just get in my Jones and, you know, because the Lord not hearing that. All right, where the little service, the little prayer service and singing and this and that and the other, the Lord not hearing that bag of bullcrap. The Lord not hearing that because they don't know the Lord is not hearing that. They're not in the truth. All right. They're in the lies. They all mixed up into the lies of their slave master. All right. And the Jesus Christ, you know, the white supremacy Christianity. All right. So when all hell is about to break loose, they don't know one thing. They wouldn't know one thing to do. They wouldn't know how to move. They wouldn't know nothing. They would just be like a deer in the headlight. Because they was not warned. Alright, they was not dwelling in prophecy. This is what it is. Yeah? These pastors and all of you all in the Christian church, basically what you all have no vision. Alright, you all have no vision, you all not seeing what is actually taking place and what is about to come about. There is Proverbs 29. Proverbs 29, I can't remember the exact verse in it. I think it's 12. Actually 17. Alright, not 17, 18 Salakia. Proverbs 29 and 18, where it reads, where there is no vision, the people perish. Alright? Where there is no vision, the people perish. Alright? Because they're not, it goes back to I'll finish up the scripture, which goes back to Proverbs 22. Alright, so it says, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Alright? He that keepeth the law, happy is he. Okay? So when you go to, I think it's 23, not 22. Well, actually it's 22 then. Alright? Proverbs 22 and 3, where it reads, a prudent man foreseeth the evil, alright, and hideth himself. Okay? A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. But what? But the simple passes on and are punished. So like you are punished. Alright? And this is what it is with these Christians. They had all what they had to say against us and about us and whatnot, so forth, over the years. But the Lord is validating us by every word that we had spoken through the Ruach HaKodesh by the way of prophecy. And everything that we have been saying, it is coming to pass. Everything we have been saying, it is coming to pass. Sometimes I just had to pinch myself because it's like we in a surreal moment. Oh, look, hey, this war that is taking place right now. Just yesterday, you know, I within myself and you know, and like, wait, boy. All what we've been speaking of this over the years, and look, we actually seeing it manifesting before our eyes right here, right now. Alright, we actually just seeing it. You know, so basically, you know, you could taste your salvation. Right now you can literally taste it. Right now you could literally, it's like you're literally seeing the chariots. That great chariot that Yahushua is going to be coming upon, you know, to salvage the elect. You understand? Right now we live in a surreal moment. This way it is here. So we foresee the evil and hide it ourselves within who? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. But the simple, they passes on. Alright? And they're going to get punished. This is where it is. That is why I would end with this last scripture. Yeah, that is why I'll end with this last scripture, which is Romans 4 and 3. No, Romans 3 and 4, Salakia. Romans 3 and 4, where it reads, 3 and 3 actually, I'll start from. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? Yahweh forbid. Yea, let Yahweh be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings. And this is what the Lord is doing to us right now. The prophets, starting with the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone are truly well, you know, on down what's us young brothers here. All right, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. There is what it is. Yeah, we are being justified here, because everything that we have been saying, it is coming to pass. And we know for a fact, you Christians wasn't privy to this knowledge, and are not privy to this knowledge, and are not privy to the very near future of what it entails. So you all are going to be caught in that net, that trap, that snare. So hey, I hope this was edifying, you know, to you, brothers and sisters, through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The brother Kahan signing out, saying Kal Halayam La Alahayanawa, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kodash, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone at Rural. Salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, along with the very few but faithful Akwat. Until then, we say Shalom, 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 Yasharallah, Shalom.